Mother of my child F19 wants to live with me M22 after she got thrown out her place. How do I tell her that I prefer that she not live with me? My son is 6 months old and I've been taking care of him pretty much by myself from day one. Luckily my family's a big help while I finish my final year. Graduation in 2 weeks. Let's go, and I'm grateful to have a strong support system around me. My ex wanted to give my son for adoption, and actually went out of her way to try to. Thankfully it was unsuccessful, but I wanted to raise him, so that's what I'm doing. She still pays on time too. Last time I talked to her before she called me was when he was 4 months. She called me, saying she had no place to go other than her parents' house, which is really far away from her. Honestly, I don't want her to live with me. I understand that this must be a really stressful time for her and moving back home leaving things incomplete wouldn't be ideal, but I'm not really up for her living with me. Now, I'd like advice on how to turn her down, in a way that's straightforward, but not harsh. You could also say that since she's not taking a big role in his life, you don't want the baby to get confused or attached to her, especially if she's going to be a part of everyday life temporarily. And how would boundaries work? Would she take on a motherly role, or a cool aunt role? Just tell her it's what's best for the baby because the first year is so important regarding attachment styles. Never discussed much about boundaries when we talked. I told her I'd get back to her, and now my mind is made up. Thanks. I'll add that in that I don't want him to get confused. I understand that this must be a really stressful time for you and moving back home leaving things incomplete wouldn't be ideal, but I'm not up for living with you. You said it yourself perfectly. You don't have to negotiate this at all. You and your son are stable, and you don't want to live with your ex. Totally reasonable. Mao didn't even register what I said as an okay response. Thanks. We didn't work as a couple, and I really don't think we would be compatible as roommates, plus I have a lot of life changes coming up soon, what with graduating and taking my next steps, career-wise, so it really just isn't a good time to be adding yet another major change. I think you say I am really sorry, but I need to focus on my son, and keep his life as stable as possible. I'd like to help you out, but I need to make his stability and emotional well-being my first priority, and it wouldn't really be fair to either him nor me for you to enter his life out of your own necessity. This is where you set your boundaries. Boundaries are rules that we set for ourselves. They don't require anyone else's compliance or agreement, and we are responsible for getting our boundaries met. Never explain, justify, or defend. Boundaries might look something like this. We are not a couple. We are not in a relationship. It's really unfortunate that you're going through such a hard time, but you're going to have to reach out to your family because I won't be taking in any roommates. Don't negotiate, don't entertain a discussion about it, be kind and calm when you say it. That's it, don't let it turn into a thing. I married the wrong person. Me, F23, and my husband, M24, have been married for 9 months now, and I live 100 miles away from my family and friends. Our whole dating period was a lie. He portrayed himself to be kind, considerate, affectionate, and as someone who cares about their hygiene. I'm also 7 months pregnant. I love my son so very much, but I hate his father. We both don't work, but he has a rich father who owns properties which my husband manages. It hardly takes his time, so he pays all the bills and takes care of groceries. I handle all the household chores and cook for both of us. Because of my pregnancy, I will admit it's been hard for me to keep up, and I can hardly bend anymore to reach places. Tomorrow we have a celebration with family. He promised me he would help me clean the house and change the rugs and the curtains. Went out in the morning and I bought some decor for our house and party things. When I came home, he was still watching Gordon Ramsay cook, even though he never makes anything. I told him to help me clean as it could take a couple of hours because I want to do a deep clean, rearrange the kitchen cupboards, dust, change things around. Instead he left the house. I'm so angry because he knows how much tomorrow means to me. He doesn't do fuck all but pay bills. He doesn't even brush his teeth until he's leaving the house. And he wears the same boxers for a week. Most days I refuse intimacy because I'm repulsed. We had arguments that my parents know about and they want me to find me a house in case we separate. He doesn't know about this, but I'm so grateful my parents are doing this because I hate him and I want to leave ASAP. I really want to call his mum and tell her how her son just left me after he promised to help me clean. I know she will shout at him, but it won't affect his black heart. Just a rant, but I really did marry someone so wrong. He's a dirty person who doesn't do anything around the house. What are you waiting for? The only thing worse than wasting 9 months on this man, is wasting 9 months and 1 day. Yes, you're right, but he's psychotic, and so violent. He manhandles me and takes my car keys and doesn't let me leave. Only have one car between us, which is mine, and he doesn't give me the keys. So, depending where you live, if you have that baby where you are, you may never be able to move closer to her family and have their support, until the kid is 18, unless you move without your child. I'd be running to a lawyer, packing my stuff, and getting close to family before that baby comes along. I've heard way too many horror stories about it. And also, of how much harder custody can be if you bring the baby home to a house where you live with your husband. Reading your comments, talk to a lawyer first. I think your best bet would be to call the police if he's recently put his hands on you. And when he's in jail, packing up what you actually need and racing home. Easier fix than most people want to believe. If you're this miserable now, it will not get better with a kid. I spent 10 years in a marriage, 6 to 7 of were just awful. It's not easy or fun, but my partner now is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Get the divorce, heal up, child support, and find a partner that makes you happy. Sadly, this person will always be in your life. To what capacity is up to you. Next time he leaves, do the same. Go to your parents, get help. Look at u/Ebby45 post page for resources. Boyfriend, 30 meters, is always naked at home and is starting to stink badly. My 25F boyfriend and I have been living together for over a year now, together for almost 2 years. He's always walked around the house naked and spends most of the time at home, when it's just the two of us, naked. It has always kind of bothered me, to be honest, but I know it's his way of relaxing and how he's most comfortable, so I've never said anything. He has gained about 30 pounds since the pandemic started. Not a big deal, but it is kind of impacting my attraction to him. He has a big beer belly now and has gained weight around his face. He's also very hairy. I honestly don't like looking at him naked unless we're fooling around, and he's naked all the time at home. I don't know what to do about it, and there's another layer to this. He started working out a few times a week, which is great, but it's like the smell doesn't wash off in the shower. His feet smell from across the room, his armpits smell whenever he moves his arms, and he's told me before that the water is completely brown when he washes his butthole out, indicating that he's not wiping properly in the bathroom. He also has very dry and scaly skin. So, back to my original complaint, he's walking around naked all the time and stinks all the time. He's sitting on the sofa and lying in bed completely naked, spreading his scent everywhere. Last night in bed, he had his arms above his head and had the fan facing us, so the smell of his armpits was wafting in my face. I turned the other way, but the scent was inescapable. I asked him to put his arms down because he smelled a little off, and his feelings got hurt, but I really didn't know what to do. I dread spending time with him at home now, because I'm visually turned off and now have to deal with constant BO. Any tips for addressing this in a sensitive manner? Edit. Holy crap. I logged off last night and checked this morning to over 400 comments. I am cracking up reading a lot of your guys' comments, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate the time everyone took to comment or joke. Can't respond to everyone, but thank you all for your thoughts. Does he use actual soap? I had a coworker that would shower at work to save water and never used soap. They were talked to a few times about hygiene. It baffles me that there are still people out there who don't seem to be aware of soap, especially after this past year. It's not like it's some inaccessible luxury product either. You can get a bar of soap for next to nothing. It's time for an "okay, this isn't working for me" conversation. If you want me to stay with you, we need to address a few issues because they are turning me off. I am losing attraction to you. The first is X. Are you willing to fix these issues? Aside from answer and results. This can't be real, can it? I'm at 25M and I got to tell you, this sounds straight up disgusting. The man is 30 years old. He should know how to take care of himself properly. Bathe himself, make sure he smells nice and is presentable. There should not be a stream of brown coming from his asshole. This is just straight up disgusting. If I were you, I would honestly just leave. A man of that age should just know to take care of himself and be mindful of his significant other. There is no nice way to tell him. You need to sit him down and have a grown-up conversation, since he refuses to conduct himself in a grown-up manner. He's not a baby incapable of taking care of himself. He is a grown-ass man. If he cannot behave like one, find you someone who will. Jesus. I'm afraid this is fiction, because it is really harrowing in many ways. The idea of living with anyone who was all hairy, naked, filthy, and stinky all the time has got to be like top 3 worst nightmare scenarios. And the brown water from washing his butthole out. This has got to be a creative writing sample.